God, I need a professional. Oh my God, I'm never gonna get this right because I'm so nervous. Okay. Whew. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. God. I gotta get it together. I need to just stop rambling and get to the point and stop acting so weird. Okay. Whew. We can do this. We can do this. Am I still centered in this darn thing? Present. This is what I do for when I need to do a second take, because if I'm scrolling through and the sound isn't on my phone, I can find that I'm doing this, and that's when I know to stop and cut. It's like you get it. I think I need to start over. Oh my God, this is never gonna be good enough. It is never gonna be good enough. Namaste yogis, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video. This video is a special video. I could not even wait to put this out there. I found out that I was gonna make this video and I threw on a face of makeup, changed this into some cuter yoga clothes, and now we're here. So this video is super special because this video is for Robert Welsh. And I'm just dying inside. I'm so excited. If you don't know who Robert Welsh is, because there's only 130 people subscribed to this channel, Robert Welsh is a phenomenal makeup artist. And I stumbled across his videos when I was looking through all the mundane, typical makeup videos that there are on YouTube that really aren't educational, that really just involve a lot of drama between this person and this person, and I was just over it. I wanted to learn how to actually make my face look better. And I stumbled across Robert Welsh, and it was so refreshing to watch videos that were actually educational. And I think I really take that to heart because I've always had the desire to teach. If anybody ever asks me a question, I just want to spew my knowledge. And I know it can be overwhelming, and I'm sorry to anybody that has to deal with me, but I really love his videos. I messaged him on Instagram because I saw his video that he just recently posted reading his subscribers' ghost stories while doing his makeup. His makeup looked flawless as always. And so I messaged him on Instagram, giving him my personal little story, which this is the room that happened in. I don't even know if it's a ghost story. It's really not a ghost story. It's just me being uncomfortable, which shocking, what's new. But yes, this is the room where the ghosts are, or whatever it is that lingers. It's freaky, but you'll have to subscribe to Robert Welsh to hear him tell the story because I'm not gonna spoil it. So, if you're new to my channel and you don't know who I am, my name is Vanessa Blair Ferris, and I am a certified yoga instructor, and it is my goal to provide yoga and wellness to people. My passion is helping people that have dealt with trauma, especially, use yoga and use self-care and wellness to begin the healing process. I in no way encourage people to go against their doctor's orders or anything like that. I am not a medical professional. I'm just a yoga instructor that believes that through my own personal experience that yoga and taking a moment to stop and take care of yourself really has a lot of benefits, especially when you're dealing with things like PTSD and other things that come along with trauma. So I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to see you all. And we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. This is gonna be a long video. This is a full class, so you don't need to check out my centering and limbering and sun salutation videos because we're just gonna get right into it. So before we get started in our practice, I wanted to give everybody that might be watching a little bit of background information as to the conversation that led up to this very exciting video. So Robert and I were exchanging messages and he had a question about yoga, and he wanted to know if yoga can improve posture and if there's any way to sort of combat that tech posture that not only do YouTubers and people that are on social media a lot have, but a lot of us in our culture have, because we're on our phones all the time. We're hunching forward. Our posture suffers because of this constant on the computer, constant texty text, and our posture does suffer from it, and it can lead to a lot of different things. Robert's posture issues that he addressed with me have manifested themselves into what I believe is tension headaches. He mentioned that he has had a headache for the last 4 days now, that he's pretty sure is from the tension in the shoulder and the neck area, which it would not surprise me. It can also, any tension in the shoulders and the neck can creep into the jaw. So if you notice that you're a person that clenches your jaw a lot as well, like I do, I have TMJ, and this whole area in the front of the neck is really tight. And something that can help you that's not really part of a yoga practice, but something that I will do when I'm just sitting and watching TV, is finding those muscles in the front of your neck. I think those are the scalene muscles, but I will just kind of gently massage those out, and you'll feel that tension start to release. If you're really tight in here, you might even start, when you do this, you might start to feel this muscle tension. You'll feel it in the forehead. I always, whenever I stretch my neck and my shoulders, I feel it in my forehead. So Robert has some tension built up in the upper back and in the neck and in the shoulders. We've got headaches going on right now, and being that he's also a makeup artist, we didn't touch on this as much, but I would venture to guess that his hips are probably tight. And that's not just because generally men's hips are tighter, but being a freelance makeup artist, if you do makeup on anybody other than just yourself, you're standing, you're leaning over them, you're moving around, you're standing all day. And that can manifest into some hip issues. So today we're going to do a lot of work on these areas that he's mentioned: the back, the shoulders, the chest, the neck. But I do want to get a little bit into the hips as well, just because I'm gonna just assume, based on what I can gather, that he probably has tight hips as well, because we all pretty much do. Unless you're one of those rare creatures that can just do the splits. Great for you, because the rest of us are over here suffering. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. It's gonna be more of a slow flow today, I think. I think what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna center, we're gonna limber, we're gonna warm the body up with some sun salutations, give you a basic idea of what any sort of slow flow, vinyasa, or flow yoga class would be like. I'm gonna go ahead and also assume that because men are typically more muscular than women, they are typically more tense. They typically do not have the same flexibility. Good news for all of you is I don't either. I am not the most flexible when it comes to yoga. People, when I tell people I'm a yoga instructor, they're always like, oh, you must be so flexible, you must be so calm. And I'm like, you do realize that everybody that teaches yoga has anxiety and issues, right? We teach yoga because it helped calm us down. And no, I'm not that flexible when it comes to what other people are capable of in yoga. I'm not that flexible either. So I think we're gonna be a good match. I think this is gonna be fun. Let's just get right to it and start with centering. Centering is what we do in class to bring ourselves to the present moment. Yoga is not like anything else where you just go get on the treadmill and start running. Yoga, you get to come in, you get to sit on your mat, or lay on your mat, or stand on your mat, and just take a moment to adjust to that energy. And it's what I love about this practice. So find an easy seat. That's where we're gonna start today. So now I'm in half lotus or Ardha Padmasana. I'm gonna stutter a lot through this whole thing because I'm nervous. If this is not attainable, if this isn't comfortable, Sukhasana, easy seat, is another good one. Traditionally, shins are stacked one in front of the other. And again, for a lot of people, that's not comfortable because the hips aren't open enough. So you can always cross the ankles if that feels better to you. You can send the legs out in front of you if that feels better to you. Put a bend into your knee. Do whatever you gotta do to get comfortable. And now we're gonna talk about this posture. Before we start centering, before we start limbering, we're going to find a nice posture. In yoga, we want to typically think of having a nice neutral spine. So we're not overly trying to straighten out, but we're combating that tech posture that we all have. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I mean here. If we're on our laptops, if we're on our phones, our posture tends to do this. We're hunched over. We're texting, we're typing, we're editing, we're swiping. And that in turn creates this over-exaggerated C shape to the body. This can cause a lot of issues with the spine. You can lose your strength to help keep yourself lifted, and that in turn can cause other issues. Poor posture can also a lot of times be the cause of herniated discs. So I want you to really feel for a minute actually what poor posture feels like. Really over-exaggerate it for me. Feel that hollowing through the chest. We close our heart space off when we're doing this all the time. And not only can that physically cause tightness in the shoulders and the chest, but think about what message that sends out into the world when you're closing your heart off. So now in yoga, we want to think of doing the exact opposite of this, basically. Think of creating roots through your sits bones. Your sits bones ground into your mat. And then think of stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other. This poor posture that we have a lot of times also causes disengagement in the abdominals. And what that does is it weakens the abdominals. A lot of people don't know that the abdominals' primary function is to hold your spine up straight. So think of engaging the core. Now, for the longest time when people told me to engage my core, I honestly did not understand how. I'm like, I don't have abs, I don't know what to do. And then one day somebody told me, pull the belly button in towards the spine and up. And immediately I was like, oh, there it is. Now take the shoulders, open them, lift the heart space forward, almost as if you are hugging the shoulder blades towards your spine. And let the arms rest softly. This is how we should feel when we're sitting. Anytime we're sitting, this is how we should feel. This is how we should be typing on our computers. And if you have to look down at your computer, taking a few moments just to lift your head up and stretch your neck. Find your breath. You hear a lot in yoga, we talk about the breath. It is arguably one of the most important parts of our practice. You don't have to manipulate your breath in any way. You can just follow the natural state of your breath. Just taking a moment to maybe close your eyes, take a few inhales and exhales, and notice what that does for the body. And maybe you start to lengthen the breath. In yoga, we typically try to breathe in and out of the nose, and we try to use the full capacity of our lungs. But that's not to say that if that makes you uncomfortable and you need to take time to get to that point, that you have to do that right now. You can follow the natural state of your breath as long as you need to. You can tap into your Ujjayi breath, your ocean breath, one of the most common breath controls used in yoga, where we constrict the back of the throat, creating an audible sigh on the inhale and the exhale. This breath just helps us increase our concentration, increase our focus, but it also helps to build heat. So if you're somebody like me who deals with rosacea, sometimes that breath gets a little too warm and my face gets hot. You might want to back off of that breath control. You may just want to focus on taking natural deep inhales and exhales. And I always invite people to set an intention here if they choose to. An intention is just something that inspires you, something that brought you here today, something you hope to get out of this class, and something that can bring you back to the breath if you feel at any time in this class like you've lost focus of the breath, or like your thoughts are just overwhelming you. Come back to that intention, it'll bring you back. And if you choose to not practice with setting an intention, that is also perfectly fine. And then staying where you are, I'm going to go ahead and turn towards you so that you can see me. We're going to start to limber, and we're going to do some neck stretches first. So let's just start by dropping the chin down to the chest. And try to let gravity do as much of the work as you can. Let the head hang heavy. Continue to breathe. Let's roll the chin over towards your right shoulder. And you have the option to take your right hand and wrap it around your low back. You can take your left hand and walk it around. You'll feel a spot where you feel a more intense stretch. You can stay there if it's comfortable. If it's not, you don't have to. We're stretching the left side of the neck here. You should feel a deep sensation right along here. Release the hands back towards the knees. Drop the chin back down to the chest on your next exhale. Inhale the chin over towards the left shoulder. Same options apply. You can stay here. Left hand can wrap around the low back. Right arm can walk around until you find that space where your stretch is more intense. Release the hands. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale to lift the gaze. And then we're going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder. So now that stretch is moving to a different spot in the left side of the neck. You have the option to stay here. You can take the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and then you can bring your hands towards your right hip. This is just creating a little more of a pull from the shoulder. And then you're pulling from this side with the neck, so you're just deepening that stretch a little bit more. If it's not comfortable, release the hands. If I have to guess, I'm going to say that Robert probably can feel this in his forehead right now. This is a pretty intense stretch, and if you have tension headaches or anything, you're gonna feel this stretch in places that you didn't know you could feel it. Inhale up through center, exhale left ear, left shoulder, nice and gently, and then bring the hands over to the other side. Notice if this side is different. You might favor one side over the other. You might be more tight on one side. You might be more open on one side. Try not to label that as right or wrong. I say that a lot, but it's so important to not beat ourselves up. Let's inhale to lift the gaze up through center. Keep the hands interlaced if you can, and bring them behind you. Open the chest here. And then start to hinge forward. You may only go this far. That's fine. You're gonna feel a stretch in your hips, and you're gonna start to wring out the shoulders. So lift the hands up towards the sky as high as you can. It does not have to be much. We don't wanna feel pinching or pain. Maybe you can fold, bringing the forehead closer to the floor. Inhale to come up, switch the cross of your legs. And then bring the hands behind the back again. Inhale, open the heart. Hinge forward on this side. And again, you might notice that this side is different. Perfectly normal. Try to lead with the chest as you fold, keeping the spine neutral. Inhale to come back up. Let's take the hands and plant them in front. We're gonna work our way onto hands and knees. So again, staying where you are, I'm going to once again turn so that you get the proper view. Finding your tabletop, so we're stacking shoulders over wrists, spreading the fingertips wide. Hips are over the knees. Let's find some cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze. Exhale, press the mat away, round through the spine. Tuck the tailbone in, bring the gaze in towards the belly button. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And just moving with your breath here. Taking a few more rounds of this at your own pace. A nice way to realign the spine, a nice way to feel that deep stretch in the back. And then from here, let's curl the toes, lift the hips, find your first down dog. This is also a good stretch for the back, for the shoulders. And we want to think of not holding any tension in the neck here. So try shaking the head no, nodding the head yes. Walk your hands out so that you feel like you can still root into the palms, but you're creating this nice V shape with the body. The heels reach forward, but they do not have to touch the floor. Feet can be close together, they can even touch. We're pressing the backs of the legs to the back of the room while simultaneously lifting the hips up to the sky. And again, pulling that belly button in, letting the chest melt. You can even bring your gaze towards your belly button or your thighs just to promote that relaxation. The shoulders externally rotate down the back so that your chest can melt. Think of pressing into each knuckle, pressing into the palms. Let's inhale to look forward. Start to walk your feet nice and slow to the top of your mat. Exhale to find a forward fold when you get there. You can bend the knees if you need to. The hands don't have to touch the floor. Inhale for a half lift. Knees can stay bent. The knees can be straight. Hands can come to the shins. Find length. Look about 3 feet ahead of you on the floor. and exhale to fold. Root down into your feet as you inhale to rise up. Exhale, bring the hands to heart, find a mountain pose. So this is a great way to find your posture, especially for those of us that are on our feet a lot for work. Lift the toes, spread them wide. Feel the four corners of the feet engage, the two sides of the ball of your foot and the two sides of the heel, and set the toes back down. Weights evenly distributed from left and right, front and back. Hips over knees, knees over ankles. You can have a slight tuck to your tailbone if you feel like you tend to overarch through the spine. And again, shoulders are soft. We'll start to work on our sun salutations. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, hinging at the hips. Try to keep the hips over the knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back to a plank. Or a modified plank. We can always drop the knees here if we need to. Still spreading those fingertips wide, just like in our down dog. Inhale, shift forward on the toes or the knees. Hug the elbows in and lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. We want to think of lowering, stiff as a board here. The body lowers in one piece. If it doesn't, drop the knees. Inhale for Cobra. Little back bend, elbows still bent. Exhale, back to down dog. Inhale, look forward, step the feet to the top of your mat. Exhale to fold when you get there. Inhale, half lift, find that length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. I have to watch my wall with my right hand here. Maybe you add a little back bend, reaching towards the back of your mat. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, find Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back to your plank. Run through that flow, lower, Chaturanga, elbows over wrists. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, back to down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. One more sun salutation A. Inhale, look forward, hop or step to the top of your mat. Exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, flat back as we fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, plant the hands. You can hop back, make sure you land with bent elbows. And lower, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or up dog. Extending the hands, tops of the feet and palms are the only thing on the mat in up dog. Deeper back bend. Exhale, back to down dog. Let's inhale to look forward, walk the feet to the top of the mat, and exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. We should feel pretty warm. We should feel ready for a few standing poses. Maybe come back to that intention, come back to the breath. Notice where the mind is, notice where the thoughts are going. Let's set up for a quick tree pose. For me, this pose always sort of helps me realize where my hips should be and how to engage my legs when I'm standing. So for a lot of us, I'm gonna, again, turn to face you. A lot of us, when we stand, think of the way you naturally stand. For me, it used to be like this, or this. And now imagine what what my spine must look like to do this. It's curving to the side, it's curving up this way, my pelvis is tilted, and my right knee is bowing. Over time, this is going to cause problems in the body. Tree pose is a great way to feel what it feels like to lift up out of the hips and keep them nice and straight. So let's come back to that mountain pose, that nice rooted pose. We're engaging the core, legs are engaged, and the spine is neutral. It's okay to have arches in your spine. Our spine naturally has a little bit of an S curve. What we don't want is overarching, but a little gentle curve, perfectly fine. In tree pose, take that right foot and ground all of your weight into that, feeling the four corners of that foot again. Bring your this is my left foot, and start at your ankle. And maybe you stay here and bring the hands to your sides. You can bring that foot to your shin or to your thigh. But for a lot of people, what this does is it causes you to let that right hip fall out to the side. Thinking of lifting up out of this hip, keeping the hips turned towards the front of wherever you're facing, and this knee, my left knee, is pressing towards the back of the room. And again, hands can go wherever you want them. If this feels good for balance, stay here. They can stay at heart. You can grow branches. Don't hold the breath as you balance. Let's release that leg, square the hip off, send that foot in front of you, and we'll find a warrior three. So I'm going to turn back to the front of my mat. Lift up out of that right leg, flex through that left foot, toes are pointing down towards the mat. And then let's step it back to a warrior one. So my left foot is stepping back, and I'm spinning my foot to a 45-degree angle. Hips are still squared off to the front of my mat, to the front corners. And the arms reach up overhead. This is great for the hips. All standing postures are pretty much good for your hips. But we can do some things with the shoulders and the back here as well. There is this natural curve to the low back here that will help with your muscle memory of learning what your posture should feel like. These standing poses help with that natural posture. Let's bring the hands behind the back. Interlace your fingers and open through the chest. Lift that heart. Exhale. See if you can fold forward, finding a humble warrior. Exhale to release the hands down to the mat. Inhale to straighten through your front leg. Find some length in the spine. Look towards the front edge of your mat. And then start to fold over that front leg as much as you can. The hands, again, do not have to come to the floor. They can come to heart center instead. Keep the spine tall. Exhale, put a bend into your front knee. And let's plant the left hand inside the right foot and sweep the right arm up for our twist. Revolve side angle, Parivrtta Parshvakonasana. From here, spin onto the ball of your back foot. And we're going to set up for a side plank. So if you need to drop your knee to modify, you can drop your left knee. Press into that left hand, maybe walk it out a little bit. And then see if you can bring your right foot to the back edge of your mat. Engage this left oblique as if there were a fire underneath you. And if you can find full Vashisthasana, side plank, you're welcome to do that too. We're strengthening the shoulders here. This is going to help with that posture by building strength. Exhale, lower the left or the right hand down to your mat. So now we're in plank. Engage the core, press the heels to the back of the room. Always an option to drop the knees. Let's find side plank on the other side. See if you can look towards your left hand. Always that option to drop that right knee down and modify your side plank, still engaging this right oblique. Now, whether you're in regular side plank or modified, we're going to see if we can work in reverse, taking that left foot, see if you can heel toe it or walk it towards the front of your mat and work your right hand inside the foot. For revolve side angle on the other side. Exhale, lower the left hand down. Spin your right foot to a 45-degree angle. Inhale, straighten through that front leg. Find that length. Pyramid pose. If you need to put a micro bend in your front knee, you can do that. Exhale to bend into your front knee. Inhale, rise up. Virabhadrasana 1, other side. And we'll bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, open. Exhale, fold for our humble warrior. Baddha Hasta Virabhadrasana. Try to look towards your right foot if you can. If you need to look straight down, you can do that too. Release your bind. Back up, engage that core, pull the belly button in to come up to your warrior 1. Exhale to lower the hands down to the mat. Sweep your left leg back. You can take a 3-legged flow, keeping that left leg raised. Or you can take a regular flow, or you can meet us in down dog. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let's inhale to lift the right leg in the air. Exhale, step it through. Let's find a warrior 2. So now my foot is at a 90-degree angle. We have roughly heel to arch alignment. And my right knee is right over my ankle. It's okay if it's a little far back, if the hamstring is tight, if this is all tight. We just don't want the knee to go over the toes. Soften the shoulders away from the ears here, but we want energy through the fingertips. Don't let that left hand fall. Let's inhale to straighten through the front leg, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, back to warrior 2. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, one more. Exhale, warrior 2. This time, inhale to straighten through the front leg. Exhale to hinge forward. We'll find Trikonasana. Triangle pose. Gaze towards your left hand if you can. We're thinking of stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders. As if you were between 2 panes of glass here. Exhale, put a bend into your front knee. Find extended side angle, Utthita Parshvakonasana. Right forearm can rest on your thigh. We're opening through this shoulder. Stretching into the side body as well. From here, cartwheel the hands down to your mat, spin onto the ball of your left foot. Step your right leg back, take a flow. And then we'll inhale, the left leg will lift. Exhale, step it through. Spin that back foot to a 90-degree angle, come up. Warrior 2. Inhale, Straighten through the front leg, reach tall. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale to rise. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale to rise. Come back to warrior two. And this time we'll straighten through the front leg. Exhale to hinge forward for triangle pose, Trikonasana. Exhale, bend into that front knee. Find your version of extended side angle. If you notice that your bicep is in front of your face rather than by your ear, reach your hand to the sky. Instead, that just means that that shoulder's tight and it's not ready for this action yet. Inhale, exhale, lower the hands down. Sweep your left leg back. Take a flow or find down dog. You do not have to roll over the toes like I do. If you notice, when I find down dog, I roll over my toes. From your cobra or up dog, you can bring the knees to the mat, find tabletop, curl toes, lift hips. Let's inhale to look forward. Walk it to the top of your mat so that we can find our tree pose on the other side, connecting these two sequences. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Rooting through the feet, inhale to rise, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. And then this time we're grounding into our left foot. Right foot comes to the ankle, the shin, or the thigh. We just don't want it on the knee. Lift out of that hip. Grow your branches if you'd like. Keep your arms wherever they're comfortable. Engaging the core. Release that leg. Extend it out long. Flex the foot. Find your warrior three. And again, hands can be wherever you want them here. Flex that foot, try to keep the hip bones pointing towards the floor. Gaze is about 3 feet ahead of you on the floor. And then we're going to step it back to Virabhadrasana 1. Bend into your left knee, step the right foot behind you, heel to heel alignment. And we're coming up. If you need to readjust your feet, that's fine. Bringing the shoulders out, bring the hands behind you. Inhale to open the chest, exhale, humble warrior. It's okay if your shoulders, if your hands don't reach towards the front of the room like mine do. I have open shoulders, that's the only part of my body that is flexible. Exhale, release the hands down to your mat. Inhale to straighten that front leg, find that length in the spine, lift tall, look a little bit forward. Exhale, pyramid pose, Parshvottanasana. If you need to shorten your stance, you can. Bend into your front knee a little bit. Exhale, bend into, what is this, my left knee. Ground that right hand inside your left foot. Peel the left fingertips up. Parivrtta Parshvottanasana, revolved side angle. Bit of a twist, good for the spine, good for the back. Twists are said to help keep the spine young, which helps with good posture. Now spin your right foot so it's on the ball of the foot. Walk your right hand out about a hand length or so. Find your side plank or your modified side plank. See if you can lift your left leg in the air. Play around. Maybe find a tree pose here. Eventually, you'll be able to work to reaching for your big toe and straightening the leg. Lower the left hand on your exhale. Shoulders over wrists, plank pose. Press the heels to the back of the room. Pull the belly button in, shoulders over wrists. Walk that left hand up a bit, spin onto the left side. Find your version of Vashisthasana. Doesn't matter what that is. Doesn't matter if you need to modify, if you want to play around. And then lower. Or no, we need to stay in our side plank. What am I thinking? And then come back to your side plank. And then we're going to take that right foot and wiggle it up towards the top of our mat, coming onto the ball of that left foot. Left hand comes back under the left shoulder. And we start to spin that left foot to a 45-degree angle when we feel safe and steady. Revolved side angle. Exhale, lower the left hand down. Inhale, find some length. Exhale, pyramid pose. Exhale to bend into your front knee. Use the core. Rise up as gently as you can. Bringing the hands behind the back. Interlace. Bring out the shoulders. Gaze towards your left foot, if at all possible. One more inhale. One more exhale, release the bind, and as you inhale, come back up. Warrior one, this side. And now let's just take that back foot, spin it flat. Find your warrior two, moving right onto the other half of our sequence. This time, let's flip the front palm. Inhale to reverse our warrior. Reach to the back of the room. Feel that stretch in the side body. Through the shoulder. Come back to warrior two. Inhale, come back to that extended side angle. And let's find half moon here. Take your right hand, see if you can ground it diagonally from your pinky toe. And we'll start to come up onto the toes of our left foot. This is prepping. You can stay here. You can start to bring that foot a little closer. Maybe you start to lift it up off of the floor. Flex that foot. Again, we're stacking hips. We're stacking shoulders. If you can, try to look up. Bend the knee. Set it back down gently. And then to do this on the other side, let's take our front foot, our right foot, turn it to the side for a moment. Heels can turn slightly out, toes can turn slightly in. Hands can come to the hips, find some length in the spine, draw the shoulder blades back, lead with the chest, fold forward. You can bring the shoulders out here. Release the hands down. Turn your left foot towards the back edge of your mat. Putting a bend into your knee, come up to warrior two. Our gaze, our drishti is out over our front middle finger here. Flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse. Keep the bend in the front knee. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, extended side angle. Option to find that half moon. You can use blocks if you have them, or you can plant your hand at your mat. Kick off with that right leg, flex the foot. I have my right hip stacked directly on top. I'm flexing through my foot, and then I reach tall. And then if I feel steady, I turn my gaze up, woo, towards my right hand. Exhale, bend into the knees, slowly take your time, coming back. Turn your left foot now towards the side of your mat. Hands come to the hips, we find a tall spine, we fold forward. And then we inhale, find a half lift here. Walk the hands towards the front edge of your mat again. And you can take a flow. And then we'll drop the knees, finding a child's pose. Big toes touch, knees can be wide, they can be together. Slow the breath down. Come back to the present moment. And then here's where we're really going to get into some shoulders and some chest work. So our first pose is going to be puppy pose or anahatasana, which is a very nice heart opener. So let's just start by lifting the hips and again stacking the knees underneath the hips. And then just like in our child's pose, we're going to walk the hands back out. This time the hips stay lifted and we fold forward. This is a very deep stretch. You're going to feel the heart open here, which isn't something that we're used to. It might be a little uncomfortable. As long as there's no pain. If you have blocks, you can even deepen the stretch. If you need a little more, you can take your blocks. And this just helps to really get a deeper stretch into the shoulders, into the chest. And if you're really open in the shoulders, your chin can touch the mat. But if that doesn't feel good, you do not have to do it. Slowly start to come up. And we'll just set the hips off to one side, swing the legs around, and I'll turn to face you. And let's come back to our easy seat. Let's drop the chin back to the chest for a moment, see what this feels like. And just very quickly bring the chin towards the right shoulder. I notice here that I have more space. I can actually look further over my shoulder after bringing out the shoulders and doing our standing sequence. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, other side. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, lift the gaze, and just drop the right ear to the right shoulder. And inhale up through center, left ear, left shoulder. Inhale to come up through center. Find that good posture where we want to be in our seated poses like we found at the beginning of our class today. Now we're going to take a twist. Twists are good for the entire spine. Going to help really keep our posture nice and tall. So let's take our left, well actually for you, depending on whichever foot is in front, take that foot and come onto the sole of that foot. For most of you, that's probably your right leg. I'm left-handed, so everything's backwards. Take that foot where the sole of the foot is on your mat, and it can stay towards your shin, or it can walk towards the outer edge of your opposite thigh. So from here, we're finding half Lord of the Fishes, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Inhale to reach really tall through the hands. Exhale, left hand's gonna come behind you if you're me, right hand if this is your right leg. And then take that elbow, you can hook that elbow outside that lifted knee and turn your gaze over the opposite shoulder. If this is too much, hug the knee in. If this is not good on your neck, look to the wall instead of behind you. Deep breaths as we twist. Inhale to come up. Exhale, quick counter twist to the other side. And then we'll come back through center. Now, if your feet are like mine, where your foot is outside your opposite thigh, see if you can take that knee and start to stack it on top of the other. Now, again, this may not be comfortable. That's fine. If there is space between your knees, that's perfectly fine. If you can just get your heels towards opposite hips, that also works. If that doesn't work for you, come back to an easy seat. Not a problem at all. This is cow face, Gomukhasana. So not only are we getting a nice stretch in the IT band, in the outer hip area, we're gonna stretch the shoulders as well. So my left leg is on top. So my right arm is gonna come out to the side and my thumb's gonna turn down. My right arm, did I say left? This is my left. My right arm comes out to the side, thumb turns up. We bend the elbows. We try to connect the hands behind the back. Now for a lot of us, I'm gonna turn around so you can see me. For a lot of us, this, especially if we have tight shoulders, is not comfortable. It is okay to have a space here. And if this is just painful to you, take your left hand or whichever hand is underneath and bring it up and over. And just like on any other arm stretch, just gently guide that other elbow down. Now in this pose, our elbows tend to push us forward. We want to continue to lift through that heart space, open through the chest. This is a great one for that posture. Pulling the belly button in helps to strengthen that core a little bit too. This is a great one to help you feel nice and aligned here. And then we're going to slowly start to release the hands. And this confuses a lot of people. So I'm going to try to explain this the best way that I can. To find this on the other side, there's a little fun way to do this. You can just unravel the legs and switch sides, but I like to plant my fingertips in front, lift my hips, my legs are still crossed, and then since my left leg is in front, I start to walk around to the right side. If your right leg is in front, you walk to the left side. And you're just walking the hands around in a circle until they reach the front again. So now my right leg is crossed over my left. It's the opposite. And then I drop my hips down. And now I'm in Gomukhasana on the other side. My right leg is on top now, so my right arm, thumb turns down. Left arm, thumb turns up. And we switch sides. Lift through that heart space. Engage the core, deep breaths. And then release the hands down. Take that sole of the foot, now your opposite, bring it to the mat. So this should be the opposite side of half Lord of the Fishes that you did not do yet. If this hurts you, just bring that foot to the inside of your shin instead. And then we reach nice and tall. Right hand for me comes behind, left elbow hooks. If this is your left leg, it's the opposite. Turn over the right shoulder or the left shoulder. I'm really bad with my left from my right, only when I'm teaching. Other than that, I always know left and right. But the minute I have to tell you your left from your right, you can forget about it. I actually have a friend who teaches who, when she teaches, let's come to the other side, find our counter twist, she labels her toes with pen, like her left toe she puts an L and her right toe she puts an R, so that she can look down for a reference when she's teaching, and it's hilarious, and I really should start doing it because I should just get that tattooed on me. My left and my right toes. All right, let's inhale through center and then release the hands down. Start to unravel your legs. Let's just bring the soles of the feet together. Find Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. You might prefer to have the heels a little further away from the midline. That's perfectly fine. Find length in the spine. Start to hinge forward, does not have to be far. And then as you inhale, start to come up and just start to recline onto your back here. You can keep the soles of the feet where they are. If you have blocks, it might be comfortable to put those under the knees and start to recline. Finding Supta Baddha Konasana. And let's find a couple bridge poses. Bring the knees back together for a moment. Soles of the feet plant on your mat. Draw the heels as close to the glutes as you comfortably can. Knees should be in line from the hip bone to the knee. Press into your big toes. Your hands come to your sides, palms turn down. We don't want to move the head or the neck in this pose. Inhale to lift the hips. Draw the shoulder blades underneath you. This is good for the shoulders. Another good heart opener. You can even interlace the fingers underneath you to draw the shoulders a little bit closer together. Deep breaths. Keep those knees in line, press into the big toes. We're passively engaging the glutes here. So almost thinking about as if you were to take your heels and drag them towards your glutes without actually doing that. But think of the muscle action for that to happen. It passively engages the glutes and puts the engagement all into the thighs and into the big toes. Exhale to release. Let's hug the knees into the chest for a moment. You can rock side to side here if that would feel good. And then we'll set up for Shavasana. So you can bring the soles of the feet back together and let them rest. This is one of my favorite places to take Shavasana, and I bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. If that's not comfortable for you, you can find traditional Shavasana. Send the legs long, rest the hands at your sides. Close your eyes. If you want to take a moment to put on some meditation music, light some candles, burn some incense. I always invite you guys to stay here as long as you need to. This is where I leave you because I don't have any music or any rights to any music to play for you to sit and rest. So this is where I leave you. And as always, I invite you guys to stay here as long as you can. Shavasana should be a 10-minute-ish experience. Now that doesn't mean that if you don't have 10 minutes that you should skip this part of your practice. There's a reason why this is our favorite part of yoga, and that's because this is yoga. The physical postures, the breathing exercises, the mindfulness and the meditation, staying in the present moment throughout your practice, all leads you to this point. This moment of feeling this deep relaxation leads you to this moment of pure rest. So stay here as long as you need. And if that's more than 10 minutes today, let it be more than 10 minutes. Staying in the present moment, following the breath, allowing the mind just to drift off, not focusing on tasks or to-do lists. And as always, telling your body thank you for everything that it just accomplished, for everything that it does for you. Thank yourself for taking time to do this. And think of one thing that you're grateful for today. I hope you all live happy, live free, live well. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. I wish happiness and freedom to all living things, and may the words, thoughts, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to happiness and freedom for all. My friends, thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.